Hi, my name is Laves-Webb, and I am really excited to be joined here with Jennings, Associate Psychotherapist here at Laves-Webb and Associates. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Lewis.
Hi. And so we want to take this opportunity to get to know you a little bit more deeply. I know you come in with a kind of a pretty extensive and varied background that I specifically around areas that I think a lot of folks struggle with, unfortunately. And so, there's just some struggles in this world where we're talking about, and you'll get into this a little bit more, but addiction, trauma, relationship issues, things like that I know you're coming in with in terms of experience. And so I wanted just to give you a chance to let people out there know a little bit about who you are and some of your clinical interests and expertise. And so maybe we could start by just telling us, the folks out there a little bit about your background and some of your experience and what you're bringing to the practice here.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to. Appreciate the opportunity. I've been in the field for about 8 years. A lot of experience with addiction, trauma, different other things that people deal with, difficulties, crisis, depression, anxiety.
Relationships,
a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big one. Really appreciate working with couples.
Mm-hmm.
And experience too around what we're seeing as another alternative option. That's been a real big interest of mine actually, is what's outside of the box. There's a lot of value in what's traditional, I believe. I really respect that, and a lot of new things emerging as well. So that's a space where I'm really interested also.
So when you say new things, you're talking about like different modalities or different interests that may complement psychotherapy, like Eastern philosophies or different, help us understand a little bit about what you're referring to when you say that.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so coming from a perspective of really wanting to look at the whole human, the whole person, the whole life, all the different aspects of their life. So I have this really wonderful opportunity in psychotherapy, and also wanting to look at different places that might benefit their value that they're getting from therapy with diet, nutrition, exercise. We have different modalities that are rising more, like yoga, which is old system that's really helpful for people in a lot of different ways to connect with the body, as well as we're seeing a lot of emergence with ketamine as a medicine that's been potentially a really helpful tool in mental health field, and so experience preparing people for that and integrating those experiences as well.
Yeah, and a lot of the a lot of the research and interest in psychedelic assisted therapy, it kind of came around in the 60s with Ram Dass and Timothy Leary out of Harvard, and then and then it kind of went by the wayside a little bit, and now we're seeing a reemergence again. And it's interesting because anything that kind of bypasses our conscious, whether we're talking about hypnosis, EMDR, or kind of psychedelic assisted or coupled therapy, whether somebody's doing that on their own and then coming in to go, okay, I had this experience, how do we integrate this? I think is definitely an emerging part of our field, which is fascinating, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And I think with a lot of what we're seeing in reemergence, there's a lot of people that are jumping right to it, and a lot of people too that are not quite benefiting from those experiences, and they could really use some support and some help and therapy to unpack that experience.
Absolutely.
And the ones that are having great experiences still benefit from psychotherapy.
And are there any specific theories or ideas that you bring to this work that are kind of unique to you, or that you really ascribe to, or that feel in resonance with you?
Yeah, I think the main one at the root of my presence in therapy and at the beginning of my practice, and it still feels really authentic and really rich and real for me, is Rogerian, person-centered. That's my approach really initially, is that just a lot of compassion, unconditional positive regard, just really viewing the client as strong. I see people as strong human beings, as resilient and capable, and having the answer already in there. And so it's fun to help people unpack that and find what that is. And
absolutely. Yeah, like a sculpture, like I'm just removing the parts to reveal the the piece of art a little bit. Yeah. And Rogerian comes from Carl Rogers, and who was one of our principal kind of psychologists in the field. And when I think about you, I definitely think about, you know, just an extreme amount of empathy and compassion. And you're just kind of such a non-judgmental presence, just inherently. It's just kind of who you are. So I can absolutely see that being really a wonderful fit for so many people. So really, really appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
You bet. What are, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about some of your hobbies or some of your outside interests that, you know, influence your work, or that, you know, kind of you bring into session, or that kind of a little bit more about who you are?
Sure. Yeah. I have a young daughter and a family, so I enjoy spending time outside with them and being together, cooking, camping. I love to travel. That's been a big part of my life, and I feel like that's helped me a lot in my practice too, just experiencing other cultures. I like to get far off the grid, so it's a fun thing to be able to experience how humans live in a different way than what I've been accustomed to.
What's one of the most interesting places you've traveled to?
I think Africa. Africa has been one of my favorite spots, and yeah, just right on the edge of the rainforest and the ocean. So
Is that in East Texas, or where is that?
it's pretty far from East
Pretty
Texas.
far,
Yeah. Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. All right. That's amazing. Yeah. I can imagine that was something, probably a life-changing kind of experience.
I think so. Yeah. It really just takes away to see humans and see them engaging in a different environment in a different way, and yet that presence is still there.
Mm-hmm.
So coming back to the United States, you know, it's just a short little window of time that I was there, but coming back here, you know, just kind of see people a little differently.
Yeah. I lived I lived in the Middle East for you know, some time, and it really changed my whole view and perception. I was like, oh, there's different ways to live besides, you know, and so it's, you know, and I say traveling is one of the ways to evolve. So I love that. All right, anything else you want to share that you know, you think folks out there might really be important for them to know, or you know, or how to get in touch with you, or your ideal client, or anything in particular that, you know, somebody out there might be like, hey, you know, how would I work with Steven here?
Sure. I think my ideal client would be someone who's interested in getting to know themselves a lot deeper, increasing self-awareness, bringing compassion to different parts of their life and parts of themselves. And so that sometimes the byproduct of that is life gets better.
Right. Been known to happen.
Other times maybe your relationships become more apparent that they need some attention or falling away.
So folks that are really interested in cultivating more compassion for themselves, and kind of open to insight, open to growth. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's an organic, collaborative process. So I really want to invite that into people that are interested to break through some barriers in their life and take the time to do so, and with couples too. I really love working with couples and appreciate getting to share that space.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me and for, you know, to introduce yourself to the folks out there. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Liz.